Hello, once again I'm Cosmic and welcome to Larian Studio's new Kickstarter funded isometric RPG Divinity Original Sin. Original Sin is the latest RPG in the Divinity franchise and is a prequel to the original Divine Divinity. Divinity Original Sin has become Larian Studio's most successful game to date, not only by raising over $1 million in crowdfunding, but also since its release it has become Larian's fastest selling game. So once again we go back to Rivellon with all its intriguing secrets and equally wacky wonders. Indeed, it doesn't seem that long ago since I was flying around as a dragon with a jetpack, wooing undead princesses and trying to take over the world. This time, however, we return to Rivellon in more traditional sense, in the form of a top-down isometric RPG. Traditional not being a bad thing, mind you, as Larian has taken every old-school mechanic which they have spruced up with some modern-day flavour and some Larian magic to boot. As you start the game, you'll enter the character creation menu. In Original Sin, you start off with a party of 2. There's plenty of customization to be had in character creation in terms of stats, skills and abilities. However, there's not an astounding amount of cosmetic customization when it comes to the character models. You'll be given plenty of pre-existing classes to choose from, all of which are great starter builds, but the option is there for you to change anything and everything you wish to create your own unique build. Graphically, Original Sin is a treat. The graphical fidelity of the game is both beautiful and stable. Everything from spell effects to the detail on the rock surfaces is great to look at. One complaint I do have is the character models. I certainly think they could have been done to a higher standard. That being said, of course, one thing that did stand out was the character animations, especially during combat. Spell animations in particular are a favourite of mine. It's rare to find an RPG with spell animations that look and feel authentic. When you cast a bolt of lightning, it really does look, sound and feel like your character is harnessing the power of lightning through their body and unleashing it out onto an unfortunate enemy. Speaking of things sounding right, both sound effects and musical score hit the mark perfectly. The game's soundtrack in particular is a fantastic listen, something that the Divinity series has become well known for over the years, and Original Sin once again brings it forth a great orchestral score. While we are on the subject of sound, something that was a huge disappointment for me was that the game's dialogue is not fully voiced. Certain portions of the game are voiced and for the most part are done to a listable standard, but I certainly feel that it was a big misstep for the title and it did feel like some elements of the game were lacking without that voiceover. So let's move on to what is in my opinion not only the foundation of the game but also its shining feature, the combat. Over the years I have grown very weary of the traditional way of designing isometric RPGs, that being that they all have real-time Diablo style combat. Point and click combat has become very repetitive and it's something I feel now hinders the genre more than it actually helps. Thankfully, the re-emergence of games like XCOM, tactical turn-based combat is back in a major way, and the turn-based combat in Original Sin is nothing short of brilliant. Movement, attacking, spells and all other actions require action points to perform in combat. Your character gains a certain amount of AP at the start of each turn, depending on their individual stats, and you can also save unused action points for the next turn. Combat is very tactical and a huge number of factors come into play, including enemy type, strength, weaknesses, distance, timing and more. On top of this, you don't have to have all your party with you at the same time. So if you spot an enemy cohort, you can actually engage in combat with half of your party and then sneak the other half around the back, thereby flanking the enemy, thus not only getting the drop on them, but also gaining combat bonuses too. By far the crown jewel of combat is the environmental factors and the ability to turn the tide of a battle just by manipulating the battlefield. Everything can be used and combined. For example, shoot an arrow to burst open an oil barrel, then use a fire spell to set the landscape on fire. Not only does the environment help you win battles, but in tougher fights it becomes essential to use everything from poison gas clouds to lightning charged pools of water. One thing I personally like about the environmental aspect of the combat is that the enemy AI will also use the environment against you. Setting traps can backfire. You can be caught off guard by a stray lightning bolt while your entire party is standing in water. Not only does the environment help you, both you and your enemies, but because of the way that the mechanic is designed, things can escalate to utter chaos, destroying both you and your enemy. Outside of combat, the world of Rivellon is once again colourful and filled with diverse environments. Exploration is simple and straightforward, although I would have liked the run speed to be a little faster. There's plenty of secrets to find across the land, including chests, secret caves, puzzles and more. Original Sin's world is packed full of characters and events to get involved in. There is no shortage of things to be doing. Speaking of no shortage of things, there's tons of loot in the game to be had. Loot is one of the reasons why we all love RPGs so much. We love collecting all the different items and pieces of equipment. While the loot system in Original Sin is nothing new, they have put a good number of items into the game with the crafting system on top of that, so you'll be spending plenty of time sorting out that inventory space. Leveling in Original Sin is also straightforward. You'll have attributes to upgrade such as strength, dexterity, etc. You'll also have skills to level up such as lockpicking or class specific things such as pyrotechnicry for mages. Lastly, in leveling you also have traits. Traits give a variety of effects. An example of this is the pet pal trait, which allows that character the ability to converse with animals. Traits can have both helpful and harmful effects, and some higher level traits may require you to sacrifice something. Finally, I want to talk about the game's story. Larian have always been good storytellers, and Original Sin is no different. The quality of the writing is good, and there's plenty of quest content to go throughout the game. One thing that Larian is renowned for is their sense of humour when it comes to the games and their writing. The Original Sin is packed full of quips, references and jolly good humour. Even if it doesn't have your side splitting, it will give you at least a few laughs. Overall, Larian have produced a real gem with Original Sin, and a fitting addition to the Divinity franchise. While I would have liked better character models, more voice acting and some changes here and there, it has to be said, whether you're an avid RPG player or not, Original Sin is a game not only worth owning but worth playing, and with the addition of the creator where you can create your own content for the game, it is just one that you cannot pass up this summer. And that is Divinity Original Sin. Thank you so much for watching. Do like, subscribe and leave a comment. Do share to your social media, and I will see you next time.